Welcome back to Beyond the Bay, your place for all things Bay Area sports. My name is Nico Schwegler, and we are here to be talking about the top 5 teams through 3 weeks of the NFL regular season. First up, we have, at number 5, the Buffalo Bills. After getting out to that slow start, Josh Allen throwing 3 picks in that Monday night opening game at the New York Jets. We all know what happened in that game with Aaron Rodgers going down. But the Bills, there were definite concerns coming out of that Week 1 loss. And they have sure as hell responded back with a vengeance. They put it on the Raiders in their home opener in Week 2 and absolutely mauled the crap out of the Washington Commanders. If Josh Allen can keep playing like this and the defense is as spectacular as they've been as of late, this team could go really, really far. And who knows, maybe they'll be even challenging for that AFC title that they've so coveted for so long. Moving on, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, coming off an impressive 2 weeks against the Jaguars and the Bears. Similar to the Bills, they had a rough opening with the whole Kadarius Toney situation, Travis Kelce being out. You had Chris Jones still holding out. But Patrick Mahomes and the rest of the defending Super Bowl champions have responded like champions. They've come out, they got a gritty win in Jacksonville against a team that we expected to be competing very heavily for potential playoff standing. And then against the Bears, and yes, the Bears aren't that good, but they absolutely pummeled the Bears. I feel like we'd be talking a lot more about the Kansas City Chiefs this week if it weren't for another team putting up 70 points in a game. However, the Chiefs are most definitely back. I believe that everyone was overreacting when we were saying, do we need to be concerned about the Chiefs? They didn't have Chris Jones, they didn't have Travis Kelce. When you're missing your second and third best player on the team, things are bound to happen, but they've responded exceptionally well, and I expect them to continue to progress, lock up a top 2 seed in the AFC, and be competing to defend their reigning title. Next up, number 3, the Philadelphia Eagles. The reigning NFC champions have looked alright so far this season. But in their last Monday night game against the Buccaneers, they looked incredible. They did a very, very solid job of keeping time of possession, running the ball effectively, passing the ball effectively, and their defense hasn't missed a beat. Jalen Carter looks like the steal of the draft. When you look at where he probably should have gone, the first or second pick, even potentially, and where he fell to at number 9, Howie Roseman, I applaud you for making that trade with the Chicago Bears to pick up Jalen Carter. Obviously, the concerns coming into the draft, but he has been by far the best rookie throughout the entire NFL so far. What a steal. As for the rest of the team, Jalen Hurts has looked solid. He hasn't looked exceptional yet, but this Eagles team still hasn't clicked necessarily, and they're still 3-0. It's very impressive what they're doing, and they're just winning games based on the fact that they have the talent to do so, and they're winning against teams that they need to win against. It'll be interesting seeing what happens when they go against the Niners later in December, when they go against the Cowboys, other tougher opponents, but I expect this Eagles team to be very, very good down the line, looking to compete for a Super Bowl once more, and maybe we'll see, can Jalen Hurts finally start to put it together a bit more and try and get back in that MVP conversation, which he was in last year. Moving on to number 2, I gotta go with the Miami Dolphins. Now, some people probably have the Miami Dolphins at number 1. I still think there's one more complete team ahead of them as of right now. But 70 points in a game against the Broncos defense, while yes, the Broncos have looked abysmal so far this season under Sean Payton, that Broncos defense was very, very good all of last season. It's what kept them in games for a lot of last season. And with Patrick Surtain, Randy Gregory, some of these players that they have, they shouldn't be allowing 70 points. But at the end of the day, it was the Miami Dolphins who have been absolutely on fire. I don't think there's a team that looks as exciting as the Miami Dolphins right now. They can formulate a 4x100 meter relay team based on their skill position players alone. It's incredible to watch. Tua, if he can stay healthy, and that's going to be the big thing we keep talking about as the season goes on. Can Tua stay healthy? Obviously, with the many concussion concerns heading into this season, we'll see what happens with the health of Tua. But if he's playing the way he is, I think he's definitely the MVP frontrunner as of now. You look at the stats he's putting up, you may say, okay, look, Raheem Mostert is leading the league in rushing touchdowns. You have Tyreek Hill, who's arguably playing like the best receiver in the entire league. At the end of the day, Tua Tagovailoa has looked phenomenal. He's looked exceptional. And I don't think anyone should be able to take it away from him. He has proved the doubters wrong. He's currently playing better than the likes of Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert, guys he has been compared to throughout his career, especially Justin Herbert. Since Herbert being picked one pick after him, there was the whole debacle of who they should have picked because Herbert was looking better than Tua coming out and yada yada yada. But Tua Tagovailoa is playing like the MVP of the National Football League right now. And that Dolphins defense with Vic Fangio at the helm, Mike McDaniel, the product of the Kyle Shanahan system, has looked phenomenal. This Dolphins team has spice, it has flair, it is everything you want in watching a neutral game of football as a fan. And we'll see how far they can go. Can they compete with the Kansas City Chiefs? Can they compete with the Buffalo Bills? The Bills is the big one because the Bills are in the division. But as of right now, it feels like no one can stop this Dolphins team because they have speed. And you can't teach speed. It's something that you just have it or you don't. And the Dolphins have it, and they have it in bulk. And we'll see if anyone's able to crack the code of the Miami Dolphins later this season. And that leads into my final pick. I might be a little bit biased here because I am a fan of this team, but the San Francisco 49ers. Oh my goodness, they have looked incredible so far this season. After getting off to kind of slow starts in the past 2-3 seasons, this team has come firing out of the gate. On absolute fire. Brock Purdy is playing like a Pro Bowler right now. Christian McCaffrey, bar none, is the best running back in the entire league. George Kittle's looked solid. When he was playing, Brandon Ayuk was a top 10 receiver in the league. Deebo Samuel had a breakout game against the New York Giants on Thursday Night Football. And going into this game Sunday against the Arizona Cardinals, I think after what the Cardinals did to the Dallas Cowboys last week, you definitely have to be weary for the 49ers, especially with some of those injuries. Juwan Jennings, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, that's your main receiving core right there. You need to be careful in which ones you decide to rest, which ones you decide to play, because you don't want to over-aggravate things, but you can't take this Arizona team lightly after what they put onto a team that many believe had the best defense in the league in the Dallas Cowboys. But let's go on over to the defensive side of the football, because in my opinion, the offense has really been the highlight of this team so far. For the first time in a while, it feels like the offense is somewhat carrying that load versus the defense. I feel like the defense is playing very well right now, but something feels like it just hasn't clicked. It feels like the entirety of the Eagles team hasn't clicked. It feels like everything is clicking on all cylinders for the Miami Dolphins. It feels kind of half and half for the Niners. I feel like the offense is clicking really well, but the defense still kind of figuring it out. New defensive coordinator and Steve Wilks, but Nick Bosa coming in after getting that massive payday he got right before week 1. I expect him to bounce back. He got his first sack of the season against the Giants on Thursday Night Football. We'll see if he can keep adding to that like the reigning defensive player he is. Fred Warner playing absolutely fantastic from the middle linebacker role. Him alongside Dre Greenlaw is scary for any defense to go against. And the secondary has actually been playing very well. Diamador Lenore, Charvarius Ward, Talanoa Hufanga, Tashawn Gibson. They've looked incredible so far. Hopefully they're able to keep this form up. And the D-line, Javon Hargrave, they shelled out the cast for him, and it's paid off. 2 sacks so far through the season, and he's been a force in the middle. Once they get everything to start clicking, this team could be unbeatable. If they're able to beat the Cowboys and then go in to that streak and get that sort of flow that they had at the end of last season, we'll see how far this team can go. But everyone knows that the game that is circled is that game in early December against the Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field. We'll see what happens then and how different these teams look at that point. But as of right now, for me, the San Francisco 49ers are the best team, the most complete team in the entire National Football League heading into Week 4. And so, to round out my list, at number 1, the San Francisco 49ers. Number 2, the Miami Dolphins. Number 3, the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 4, the reigning champion Kansas City Chiefs. And at number 5, the Buffalo Bills. For more content like this, be sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. I've been Nico Schwegler here for Beyond the Bay, and we'll see you in the next video. Schwegs, signing out.